Hi guys, Sodo Railway Studios here. Today I'm going to be doing a voice acting Q&A video. So a while back I did a post asking for questions, if people had questions about my voice acting career, because I've done a lot of voice acting on YouTube. So, um, so I did a post asking people for questions, and I did get quite a few submitted. So I'm gonna hopefully try and get through them today. Okay, so let's get started with a good one to start with. So this question is from Sailor Alexis, the Luigi and Funshine fan engine. And his question is, what other works have you been in besides Sodo Railway Tales? So obviously Sodo Railway Tales is my series, and I do most of the voices in that show, in the series. Other series I'm in, the series that I'm the most prominently in at the moment is Real Sean Caffrey's series, Sean's Next Big Adventures. I do voices for loads of characters in that series. If I listed them all, we'd be here all day. But I do voices for characters from lots of shows like Fireman Sam, Bob the Builder, Postman Pat, Rory the Racing Car, and Thomas. Quite a few characters. I'm also in the Sudri and A Zero's audio series, Great Sodor Engines. I joined the cast in season 3 of that series, and I'm currently the voices of Duncan, Mr. Percival, and Alfie in that series. I might end up auditioning for more characters when it gets to season 4, though. I'm also in um, Akif Umar's. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced that, but I'm in his Gordon project currently, which I think he's still working on. And currently in that project, I'm doing the voices for Edward, Toby, an inspector, and a mainland diesel. And I'm hopefully potentially going to be in Postman Douglas 2011's series as well, which is like a, a crossover between Thomas and Postman Pat, I'd assume. Because he did ask if I wanted to voice certain characters in the series. I don't know when he's actually going to start that series, but I will. I think I did record some lines for Ajay from Postman Pat though, so I'd assume he's using them. Oh, and also I do the voices. I'm also in Downey Studios' 2001 series. I recently got cast in that for season 4 of his series. I'm going to be doing the voices for Dennis and Steven in that series. So yeah, those are the main fan projects I've worked in besides my own series, which is Sodoroa Tales. The next two questions are from Real Sean Caffrey, who's one of my good friends on YouTube. His first question is, who are my biggest inspirations for voice acting? Um, I'd say probably the biggest inspiration. I have many inspirations for voice acting that I'm probably going to end up listing. But probably one of the biggest inspirations for me is definitely David Holt. Like, I can't, like, when I can't tell you how shocked I was when I found out that he'd been in so many British kids shows, like, spanning from across the 90s, the early 2000s, and the 2010s as well. And I was really happy when I actually got to speak with him when I interviewed him for a college project I was doing last year. I was really happy when I got to do that. Um, but other voice actors I have who are my inspirations would include mainly British voice actors, you know, like Teresa Gallagher, Jimmy Hibbert, Rob Rackstraw, Keith Wickham, John Hasler, Ben Small. Who else is there? Bob Golding as well. Wayne Forrester to some extent. Emma Tate. Um, then also there's also some American voice actors in there that I'm quite inspired by, like Frank Welker, Jim Cummings, and Tom Kenny and Roger Craig Smith and Steve Bloom, Kevin Michael Richardson. In terms of celebrities, though, Stephen Fry is a big inspiration for me. I love Stephen Fry, and also Rob Brydon as well. I'm a big Rob Brydon fan. His other question is, who is your favorite character slash actor to impersonate? Oh, that's a really difficult one. Um, in terms of characters, I think for my own series, Sodoroa Tales, the one I have the most fun voicing in Sodoroa Tales is probably Duncan. I don't know why. I just love going crazy with his Scottish accent. Oliver's quite fun to do as well. The Great Western Engine, not the Excavator, because Sean voices the Excavator in my series. Actors though, um, well, I know he's not really an actor. He's more of a comedian, but Peter Kay is really fun for me to impersonate. Like, because he's also quite easy for me to do as well. So like whenever I so like for example when I did the voice of Big Chris in an episode of Sean's series called Rory Speeds Ahead, I found that very easy because Peter Kay's accent is quite easy for me to impersonate. I love doing it. So yeah, Peter Kay is my favorite person or celebrity to impersonate. The next question is from James the Parody Maker, who's another good friend of mine. What are some other characters you would like to voice? I don't know. I mean, it's just a matter of which characters I get cast as, to be honest, in fan projects. Because I know some people like people to audition for fan projects, and I auditioned for Great Sodor Engines. Um the funny thing is I don't think I auditioned for Duncan. I think Sodrene Zero actually asked me himself if I wanted to voice Duncan, and I said yes. But for Alfie and Mr. Percival, I did audition for them, as well as a few other characters. Like I think Duke and Harold were on that list. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's when it comes to Great Sodor Engines, I'm just gonna wait until he the Sudrine Zero puts out his casting call for season 4. So I might audition for some characters then. But I'm not really sure if there are any other characters I'd like to voice. Like I'm I'm perfectly happy with all the characters I voice in Sean's series. So um yeah, I think it would. I feel like I'm perfectly happy with the characters I do currently at the moment, but I might think of some more that I'd like to voice in the future. The next question is from Postman Douglas 2011, and his question is, "What is the hardest voice you've eventually achieved?" Um, I would probably say Starscream from Transformers Prime, because believe it or not, I didn't actually listen to. I don't think I actually listened to that much of the actual voice actor who played Starscream in Transformers Prime, which is Steve Bloom. I mainly listened to Little Owl VA's impression of it. Because by the way, you need to check out Little Owl VA's content. He's amazing. Um, and when I first did my Starscream impression a few months ago, I listened back to it shortly after I did it, and I realized that it wasn't really that accurate to what Steve Bloom did. So I listened to more and more of his take on Starscream. Like I watched a few episodes of Transformers Prime to listen to his take on Starscream, and I did eventually get it, even though I do find it occasionally a little bit difficult because there are some moments in like this where he gets all very normal. Bit of a British accent in there. Uh, there are also moments where he gets a bit panicky like this. Um, and then there are also a lot of moments where he gets a bit deeper and bit more intimidating and scary. Because I noticed that Steve Bloom has a habit of doing that, because he plays a lot of villain characters in cartoons, and so there are quite a few times when he goes down to that really deep tone. So it did take a while for me to actually perfect that tone specifically, but I do think I did eventually get the voice right. I hope that little Alvier's proud, and I hope that and I hope that Steve Bloom's proud as well. And the last question is from True Blue Productions. And his question is, which voice did you find most difficult to impersonate? If you're talking about in Sodor Railway Tales, then I'd definitely say Emily, because I didn't plan on voicing Emily in episode 1 of Sodor Railway Tales, which was Emily's grumpy friend. I do have a new voice actor for Emily, who will be starting in season 2. That was Ashley Menard, who voices most of the female characters. But I did find voicing Emily to be quite difficult because, for one thing, my voice can't really go that high. I got the Scottish accent right, but my voice can't really go that high, so it wasn't entirely accurate to Teresa Gallagher's portrayal, but I do think it did sound quite accurate to what Michael Angelis did, so I guess there's that. Um, but yeah, I do generally find female voices really hard to do anyway. But one in particular, even though it's a male voiced by a woman, one in particular I find really hard to do is Tails from Sonic. Because like I cannot voice Tails to save my life. Like I suppose I could just edit the audio or something, but personally I'd rather not do that because to me that kind of feels like cheating. Um, but I do at least so it's why I'm glad that because I do voice a few Sonic characters in real Sean Caffrey series. At the moment, I do Knuckles, Silver, and Espio. And I'm quite happy with playing those 3 characters because I cannot do Tails to save my life. I believe I think someone else is doing it. I think it's Logan the movie dude something that's voicing Tails in Sean's series. So yeah, I I I'm I applaud his performance though. I listened to his audition for Sean once, and I do really like his Tails voice, and I wish him nothing but the best when Tails gets a role in Sean's series. Like, if there's one thing Logan, if you're watching this, there's one thing I can tell you about voicing Tails in Sean's series. Just enjoy it. Like, I'm not even that fussed if you don't sound 100% accurate to Colleen O'Shaughnessy. At least you're a lot better than me. I know that sounds like I'm beating myself up, but I really do mean it. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all um appreciate the answers to your questions. Uh, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.